Hey, hi, episode 103, Bardown Breakdown, where we are Joe Sack kicking you in the face with our homegirl, Poli from the Bombpops. Super stoked to have you on with us. What's
Thanks,
going on?
guys. Nothing. This is so random. You guys somebody found out that I, used to dabble in hockey a little bit.
Yeah, we're sneaky like that. Like,
I love it.
It's funny. We when we first started doing this, obviously we're at episode 103, so we're deep into it. We're in the thick of it. But when we first started doing this, after the first like 7 or 8 like friends we had to start like going onto Instagram and like trying to find any people in bands that we could find in like a hockey sweater. And that's kind of how we did it for a long time. We'd be like, we love this band. Anyone wearing a jersey? No? Okay, move on. We love this band. Anyone wearing a jersey? Oh, someone's wearing a jersey. Sick. So they'll definitely be into this. So
did you see me wearing a jersey?
I think you posted at one point the picture from like your youth hockey days.
Yes.
And I was like, that is so badass. We are reaching out to her.
Yeah, for sure. That's cool. I know hockey and punk rock tend to actually cross paths quite often, I feel like.
Yeah.
Same with golf.
Yeah, believe it or not, same with golf. It's those plaid pants, I think,
Yeah, I know. It's the outfits.
Sick golf pants. So first and probably the most important question to ask, Punk and Drublick or So Long and Thanks for All the Shoes?
I don't know, man. Maybe So Long and Thanks for All the Shoes. It's too hard for me to decide favorite albums and all that shit, to be honest. Like, I just freeze every time. I just like I can't decide. Like, I still can't decide my favorite, Alkaline Trio album. They're my favorite band, or No Effects. But yeah, I'll go with that. I'll go with So Long, Thanks for All the Shoes.
Yeah,
you said you liked that answer, so I'll stick with it.
No, I do. It's a great answer. It's growing up, I got super into like collecting vinyl, and then I got out of collecting vinyl, and then I got back into collecting vinyl. But before I did that, I was like a nerdy 15-year-old that had this big old binder. It was like a big binder for CDs, and I would take all the CDs out of the jewel cases. I'd put the liner notes in the front of the slip and put the CD behind the slip. Like it was ridiculous. But I remember the only 2 No Effects albums I had on compact disc were Punk and Drublick and So Long and Thanks for All the Shoes. And for me, I always liked So Long better. But anytime like any of my friends would like look at my CD book, because Punk and Drublick is like the quote unquote quintessential No Effects record. So everyone's like, oh yeah, like I think I've heard of those guys, like Punk and Drublick. That's the one that has Linoleum on it, right? Yeah, it's the one that has Linoleum on it. But I always liked So Long better. But as a No Effects fan, I just think, have you had the chance to listen to Linoleum yet?
I haven't. I haven't even listened to it yet.
If you get a chance, it's so tongue in cheek. I mean, it's Fat Mike. Like, I don't know what else you'd expect from Fat Mike other than to be like completely entertained in 3 minutes. But they pretty much took Linoleum and like sort of half just covered their own version of it.
Right.
But like made fun of it at the same time. My favorite line in it, he says, he never really cared for Linoleum. He never, what did he say? I think he said, I never really cared for Linoleum. I only wrote 2 verses in a bridge. So he's like, it's not even like a real song to me. So
that's funny. Was it the video? Was the video like the cartoon drawings of them, or?
No, that video was actually also super cool. So it was just all of these spliced images of different bands covering Linoleum.
Oh, okay, that's right. And yeah,
just,
you know what? I like scroll through past that shit. I'm like, oh, cool, another fucking thing Mike's doing.
Yeah, that guy's never not doing stuff. But yeah, if you get a chance to check it out, it's a doozy. And the song's actually like, it's great. I mean, it kind of sounds like Linoleum, but a little bit more fleshed out. So on that topic, let's talk a little bit about the Bombpops. So let's start where we are now. So Death in Venice Beach, you guys put that out earlier in the year. I think, what was it, March, right, of 2020? Well, I should say earlier in last year, so March of 2020.
Yeah, March 13th, Friday the 13th, 2020. And that's the day that our whole tour got canceled too, because that was just
so that's what I was going to ask. So you put that album out March of 2020, which is pretty much right when the pandemic went into full swing. So it's almost as if you guys, like, you wrote this record, you had all of the promo of it coming out, and I'm sure you just told me you had a tour and stuff, booked for it, and then it just kind of shut right down. So, I mean, have you even had like the opportunity to get to, like, play any of this stuff for people? I think I saw that you guys did a little like acoustic session for Punk Rock Bowling when they like kind of, canceled that and did the online sessions for it. But like, not to bring it down or be a bummer, but like, what has it been like having this great record come out and just not being able to play it?
Yeah, I mean, it's been full on bummer because, like, it, to me and to all of us, I know, like, creatively, like, this was like our favorite and like best thing that we've done, and we were so set to do our first headlining tour, in which we sold out like most of it.
Excellent.
So yeah, it was a bummer. And like, we're doing things like the Punk Rock Bowling things, and Jen and I, we pretty much said yes to everything that people asked us to do as far as like live or virtual shows and things like that. But we have something coming up that I can't quite talk about. But yes, we will be, delivering and being able to get some of that out. So we're our drummer Josh moved to Seattle, but he's flying down this weekend, and we've been practicing these weekend chunks like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, just like all day grinding, and it feels so good. Just we all get COVID tested before, make the dudes wear their mask. We just try to be as careful as we can. But it's so vital to do that. Like, we just started practicing again, and like a few weeks ago was the first weekend, and it was just like, holy shit, it felt so good. And plus I was just like, I'm gonna forget these songs, dude. To practice. So it's been a major bummer, and this year it doesn't look like it's probably happening either. So we are just focusing on being like content creators, and we have plenty of shit that we like to do, like the slide into the DMs and like other skit type things. Cool. So yeah, and an exciting thing coming up with the band. So we'll be able to talk about that soon, but it's gonna be rad.
Very cool. Really looking forward to it. So I know a few of the tracks that I've had the opportunity to check out for the actual music videos that you've done. Everything has been like incredible. Like the theatrical aspects of it, the stories that you guys are telling in the videos are awesome. But one of the things that's kind of striking, and I know it's striking to a lot of people, is the song and the video that you kind of wrote around being a diabetic. And I got to tell you, like, I don't think I've ever like heard a song that touches upon that and the struggles that go along with that. My my mom, type 1 diabetic for damn near her whole life, so it kind of it hits close to home.
Oh wow.
So I'd love if you could just to share a little bit of experience about what kind of drove you to write a song about it, shed some light on it, because the punk rock community, they shed a light on a lot of things, but something as brutal as being a diabetic is really not something that you ever hear. So kudos for that, first and foremost. Thanks. Because you're very welcome, of course. But I just want to know, what made you decide to write something around that, and the music video that went along with it, that obviously has a lot of imagery surrounding it. So how did that come to be?
Well, I've been diabetic since I was 16, and I've never really like tried to write a song about it, but I think that I knew it was coming. But when you have something like that, I just wanted it to be so perfect that I could never actually finish anything. And so I, finally like found something I liked, and like we were in the studio and I still like we had the chords and everything for the chorus, but I had no lyrics. So I had like both the verses, and I was just like the first week in the studio, we just sat around like the big room with our acoustic guitars, like two producers, and just like kumbaya style, like, so I was in that room, and like I just like something came over me. I was probably super hungover, just like sick of, I just remember being like, oh, I just want to go in the other room. Like, I feel like I can write this right now. And I sat down, and it just like, boom, it's 4 lines or whatever, but it just felt so good. And then like, as soon as I like played it for the first time, I mean, I couldn't even sing it. I came back out 20 minutes later. I was like, guys, I got it. But I was like, it goes like this. And I just couldn't, like, I couldn't even sing it without crying. And I was like, okay, if I feel this way about it, like, this is going to be good. And I had a lot of like thoughts about, is this like, woe is me? I felt very like insecure about it. Like, is this lame? Is this cheesy? But it all came about the same time as me realizing that I do have this platform to speak about this. I was always embarrassed about it, like never wanted to talk about it. My dad is diabetic too, and he was the same way. Like, I always like grew up around him, kind of just like not telling his friends, like, so yeah. And the response has been insane. Like, I didn't realize how much it was also like actually going to help people. Because not only if you're diabetic, or you have a loved one that's diabetic, or your spouse or your child, like God forbid, like it hits close to home. And I just didn't realize it was going to help so many people. And I get messages all the time about it. And like the other day, I listened to it because I was sick of dealing with all the shit. And so I was like on my way to work, like on the freeway, and I was like singing at the top of my lungs, like out of a movie, legit, like bawling, like so dramatic. It was so funny, but I felt so much better afterwards. So I'm really glad. And then the video, was super emotional too. Like, and then also to speak up about it, because I did have a seizure like a year before I wrote the song. Yeah, so that was my like first diabetic seizure on tour. It was very scary. My tour manager happened to have a emergency glucagon pen thing because his wife is diabetic. I would have, and she made him bring it, but I would have.
Thank God.
I never fucking carried one around. Oop, can I say that?
Oh yeah.
No, of course you can. Yeah.
Okay. I think, but yeah, I never carried that around, so stupid. I would have died on that floor. Oh, that's, and then the bridge of the song talks about that, like on this cold gas station floor. It was like this random ass gas station in Utah. Somehow, lucky enough, out in the middle of nowhere, there's a hospital like 10 minutes down the road. So the paramedics got there in like 8 minutes or something crazy. But
so and that's kind of another question, and I don't know when I will ever get an opportunity to ask this, so just something that piques my curiosity. So being a touring band and having type 1 diabetes, like, do you plan like around what you have to do? Like, do you do you stock up on like snacks just on the just if we have a 10-hour drive and you don't want to stop, like, do you make sure that you have things to make sure that if your blood sugar dips, you're good to go, or if your blood sugar is too high, you're good to go? And then like, how do you travel with like insulin and stuff? Like, do you have to travel with like like cold packs and all that kind of stuff? Just like, how does that go when you're on tour?
I'm a pretty like low maintenance diabetic. I feel like I should be a little bit more better about it, but I have this sensor thing now too. That goes to my phone. I used to tour without this thing. This thing is a lifesaver. Like, I don't know how I would be wasted passing out random places and I'm still alive. Honestly, I can't even so that's crazy. That's been a big help. I don't refrigerate it. They say I've never gone longer than 5 weeks has been like tops, I think.
Okay.
So they say like it could for like a month be out of the fridge. I've never found any true problems with it. So that's nice. And then obviously just don't keep it like in the hot sun or whatever.
Yeah, of course.
But and then I don't like, it's too hard to plan meals or anything like that. But there's always snacks in the van, and then like we'll stock up on always on our rider is orange juice. It's like the number one thing, all in caps, diabetic in the van, just so they don't forget that.
Of course, yeah.
And then you know, I don't always have to drink that, so we'll collect that along the way, and then we end up, especially in Europe, we end up like with the crate of OJ, and then you have to go through like you work at a grocery store and be like, okay, this one expired, move this to the back. But
mimosas for all.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's, and then, you know, it's just always making sure that, and then the main thing is just I'm terrified of going low on stage, so it's just making sure I'd rather play it safe and run it high, even though in the long run that makes me feel like shit.
Yeah.
And because adrenaline makes your blood sugar go up too.
Yep. Sure does.
So like every time I play a show and I should be feeling great, like, woo, I just played a show. It's like, oh, I gotta go like drink some water and just like chill for a sec, cry.
Oh yeah, I know. And then I know like one thing usually that comes with high sugars too is the whole like polydipsia, and you know, like constantly peeing, constantly being thirsty. So I'm sure that's probably the worst thing in the world. Like you rip an hour set and you're just like, I drank like 5 gallons of water and I'm still thirsty. Like, what the fuck is going on?
I know, I hate that. When I was first diagnosed, it was like I could not get enough like liquids. So thirsty.
Yeah, awesome. Well, like I said, I mean, it's a great track, and you know, the fact that, like I said, you're shedding light on a situation that you know, a lot of people may be struggling with, and not realizing that, you know, someone in your position, you know, in potentially one of their favorite bands is also afflicted. So very, very cool that you know, you chose to shed some light on that. And so Death in Venice Beach, just as a whole, I hear, and I'm sure like you get it all the time, but like I hear all of those influences. Like, you know, I hear very much No Use, and I hear very much like a little bit of like Lagwagon and like Swinging Nutters, and like those like quintessential 90s, you know, pop punk bands that really paved the way for pop punk to like explode, right? Because realistically, you know, if you look at Fall Out Boy and Paramore, right? You know, two great bands in their own right, but none of them would ever have the platform that they were able to have were it not for these West Coast you know, punk bands and all that kind of stuff. So you know that you know, growing up on the West Coast, was that really like your bread and butter that you listened to growing up, or like what were some of your favorite bands that inspired you to, you know, kind of write the way that you write?
Well, I mean, so growing up, my dad was always, you know, showing me into music. I played piano. He showed me how to play some drums. But when I met Jen, she was a little older than me, 3 or 4 years. And I met her when I was like 13, 14. And I mean, I listened to like everything at the time, but was not aware of any of the shit that I like was gonna eventually like fall in love with and be like, whoa, this is perfect. And you know, that's how it happens. Like some neighborhood kids showed Jen, and then she showed me, and like, I mean, Millencolin is like where that was the shit. She showed me that, and I was just like, oh my God, I don't even know, you know? Oh my God, I don't even know, you know? Jesus Christ. So what was I even talking about? Oh, like all those bands. Yeah. I mean, I grew up, I like, you know, Blink-182 was like local. And then like my dad was a big U2 fan, so I listened to a lot of that. And my dad showed me Ramones and Violent Femmes. So I was always into that, like, don't give a fuck, like, punk rock attitude. And I just, when Jen and I, like, met and she showed me that, and then we were, like, both were girls that were sick of the boys like ditching us, and we just were like, whoa, you play guitar the same as me, and like we want to write these songs. And yeah, so that's like the shit. Jen loves No Use for a Name, and our bass player is like loves No Use and loves Strung Out, and grew up like playing along to all the bass lines of all the songs. Like when our bass player's mom met Fat Mike, all of our parents have like hung with Fat Mike. It's pretty funny. Even my mother-in-law like rode down with him for an hour about like musicals and stuff. But she's like, oh, okay, you're the guy that like I heard blasting for like 4 years when Neil was in high school. Like, she's like, I can play the bass on those songs. I heard it so many times.
I love that.
So we're all just in tune, because Neil and Josh, our drummer, grew up together. Listen to that shit. Jen swooped me up when I was fresh and 13, and we just like, did the damn thing. And I know we give people that nostalgic feeling, and I love that we do. And, everyone says over and over, oh man, if they were like in the 90s, like this band would be fucking huge. And I'm like, yeah, thanks. I know. Sorry, I'm not some SoundCloud fucking rapper chick.
That's where it's at, though.
Yeah. I'm about to get on it. That and OnlyFans. Where's the money at?
I don't think Tom and I are cut out for that.
I think you guys can totally do it.
We're the podcast type.
You saying you don't think we'd be cut out for OnlyFans, Mike? Is that what you're saying?
That's definitely what I'm saying.
I disagree with you.
You guys rubbing your beards together. People pay to see that.
Listen, I'm fine with that. If people would pay to watch me rub my beard against Mikey's beard and like talk about his dog, like I'm fine with that. I'm totally good with that. I'm all about that. So, let's talk a little hockey, just because we're a music and hockey podcast. It's kind of what we do. So, so Mikey, I had shared with me. I guess you guys were chatting a little on Instagram or what have you. That you played some hockey for a while. When did you start playing, and how did you get into it? And at what level were you playing? Was it like just pickup, or was it like how were you kind of immersed in it?
Yeah, so my dad was always a hockey fan, and so I mean, I was just as young as I can remember. My dad would always be in the street. We'd use the trash cans as goals, and he'd always be in the street. Like, my mom would always get annoyed because it's like the neighborhood, like kids would be like, can Rusty come out? Like my dad, can Rusty come out and play? Because they would play hockey out there. And I remember they gave me like little plastic skates, and I'm like trying to keep up. And I remember this. I mean, I must have been 3 or 4, and I remember being pissed that I like couldn't play with them. But anyway, I grew up. My dad played on in a league, like an adult league, and it was like him and his buddies, and really like that was supposed to be his escape, like from the family and my mom and kids, but every week I would beg for him to take me, because sometimes they would let me keep score, and I thought that was the coolest thing. And I also loved to like hear my dad like shoot the shit with his friends, but it was totally like, oh man, you brought your kid again. Like, I feel like now that I'm an adult, like that was so sweet that my dad like let me come every time, because if that was my kid, I'd be like, fuck off, like you're staying home, straight up. And so always just played it and got good at it playing the street. And then I played in a league, roller hockey, not ice. And I did that for a couple years, and then I tried out for the middle school. I had a team, and I tried out for that, and I knew for a fact I was better than some of the boys that tried out. Like, I knew it. It was, and the next day I'm all excited running up to the list, and I like didn't make the team. And I was so bummed. Like, I was crying. My mom called the coach. So my mom called the coach, and all of a sudden, magically, I'm on the team. Mom, what did you do with that coach? Whatever you gotta do, right? But so then I played in middle school, and that was kind of it. I think I realized, not that, I don't know, just being with the boys, I was such a shrimp until like high school. And yeah, it was hard. I was like, oh shit, if I don't like really do this, and I played a million other sports. And so I was like, it's getting a little rough. But I absolutely love the game. I grew up, my dad's a golf pro actually, and some member at the country club, he's the head pro to a country club, and some member like had season tickets to the Gulls but never used them, so we use them all the time. And same thing, it would be me and my dad's thing. My sister would pretend that she would want to go just to fuck with me, because I just wanted it to be me and my dad. And I swear to God, my sister would grind it out and fucking go with us, even though she hated it, just because she knew it would bum me out. You know what I mean? Like, that's the shit. And but that was our thing. Oh man, our tickets were like right by the glass, then right where the players come in and out. And so
nice.
And so, when it gets down to like 30 seconds or whatever, you can all run over, the kids can all run, and you like high five all the players, and like got a ton of pucks, and they give you broken sticks. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And then I don't know if you're familiar with like goals, but the San Diego Gulls, but my favorite player was BJ McPherson, number 28. I remember that number because it was the channel that Nickelodeon was on. And
sick.
He got paralyzed from a accident on the rink, like somebody's skate and into his neck or something. It was devastating. And then now I think he can like walk again. Like they rehabbed him. I mean, it's been years and years, but I just remember that being so like heartbreaking. Like, what? And then he'd like come to the Gulls games, and like they would always see out.
Yeah, who'd that happen to in the NHL? I mean, I know it was the front of his throat. Do you remember who that was? Who caught that? It was pretty gnarly.
There's been a few that have been paralyzed. I know that like on one of those Detroit Red Wings teams in like the 90s, one of their main defensemen from Russia was paralyzed.
Shit.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
I forget his name.
Yeah. It's I mean, people don't realize how sharp those skates are, man. I mean, like they can like wreck you like real bad.
Do they wear full face coverings now, or do some players still not?
No. They there's some players that still don't even wear any visor, which I think is just crazy.
Right here.
Yeah,
okay.
There's some people that have like taken some pretty nasty like slap shots to the face, and now they wear cages. I think Komarov is one of them, right?
He wears at times. When they're like got like a broken jaw, but they still want to play, they'll wear a full cage. But hockey players are just badass. They're like, whatever.
I know, they're just like,
I'll lose some teeth. That's cool.
That's why it's such an awesome sport too, because you can fight. Like, what? And then my dad would always, especially when you're close to the ice, like you can pick up, you're like, who's the team? Like who's on the lookout? Who's the guy that's going to fuck things up? You can tell that they're already like planning a fight. You know what I mean? You can pick up on those things. You can hear them. Like, I used to think that was so cool. My dad would be like, okay, watch number 18, watch, and it was just so cool to like see it coming. And it was I'd be like that little girl. I was like a tomboy. I mean, I still am, but like I'm blind, I'm deaf, I want to be a red. The classic, cracking everybody up, being inappropriate.
Yeah, we so our childhood favorite team, me and Mikey, we're big Islanders fans, and I can't really tell you why, but this like section of fans at the Nassau Coliseum where the Islanders play and have played and will really only play for another season. These fans like kind of started adapting like soccer style chants for like these hockey players. And like some of them were like kind of cool, but other ones are just like long and dopey and stupid and like never really like tongue in cheek or fresh enough to like be that funny. but they kept doing it like ad nauseum. I guess they're technically the Loudville kids. Is that like who they are?
They have a name and everything.
Yeah, they're Blue and Orange Army now.
Yeah, I mean, whoever they are, God bless them. Thanks for being Islander fans, but
yeah. So it's a crew that they obviously have season tickets all next to each other, or what?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you guys have season tickets?
No, we actually don't live on Long Island anymore. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, and Tom lives in Florida.
Yeah.
Oh.
Unfortunately, yeah, and it's we have the opportunity last year. I live in Orlando, so just like about an hour and a half away from Tampa, and the Islanders were playing the Lightning. So Mikey flew in, and I took the drive over, and we met up with a bunch of buddies, and we ended up catching a game, which is like it's so funny because where we lived on Long Island, like it was just like going to an Islander game was like nothing special. Like I don't mean to say it that way, but like it's just like we lived 20 minutes away. The Islanders were so bad when we were growing up that you could get tickets for like $6 or $7.
Mm-hmm.
And like as we got older, like there's a humongous parking lot where you could just like get hammered and then go watch like the Islanders be terrible. And like that just kind of became what we did. And like fast forward, 15 years, we're both in our 30s, and we're in this like completely foreign place, like watching this team we grew up loving. And like, Mikey stopped drinking. I didn't stop drinking. So like, I'm just like, wow, like this is like being 18 and 19 again and just like loving it. And of course, par for the course, that game we went to, Islanders lost because, what else would they do?
Well, exactly. It completed the throwbacky. Well, that's cool that you guys like, it's like something that'll, you guys obviously will be like friends forever because of. How did you guys meet?
We went to high school together.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've known each other for a very long time.
So you've rubbed beards before.
Unfortunately we have. Mikey used to own an old Jeep Wrangler. Like the one that could be taken apart by an Allen key if someone wanted to. And we spent many, many days like elbow to elbow in that thing.
That's
listening to a lot of 2000s tunes, like a lot of them.
Mm-hmm. But I love it. I'm picturing it right now. It's making me so happy.
Oh, it's incredible.
I'm kind of getting a little teary-eyed, actually.
Oh no! Listen, don't cry for us because we're two actual idiots. So as far as like obviously you talking about being a Gulls fan, did your fandom ever kind of like bleed into the NHL? Like, did you consider yourself like a Ducks fan or like a Kings fan? Did you have like a particular NHL franchise that you kind of pledged allegiance to?
Yeah, I mean, God, probably more the Kings. I always thought it badass, the colors and everything. And now that I'm in LA, kind of like you gotta. But I've never been to an NHL game. No, I must have been to one. It wasn't memorable if I did, so I'm gonna say no. not that. I mean, I don't know. I would love to go to a game. Now we can't do any of that shit.
Unfortunately, yeah. But who knows though? I mean, like it's not looking. The prognosis doesn't seem to be looking good for 2021. But I know that New York actually just announced. I meant to talk to you about that. New York just announced that they're going to start allowing a small amount of hockey fans. I don't know what the actual capacity is.
I think it's 10%.
10%. So, I mean, a little bit.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you saw it with the Super Bowl, where, I think Raymond James, they said holds like 70K and there were maybe 20 and change in there. So I guess they're trying to sort of test their luck and see how they're going to be able to do this.
They were doing it with baseball in the World Series and shit. They haven't been doing the same thing with hockey?
No, not really.
There's
a few. Like there's Nashville is having a few fans in. Florida Panthers are having a few, but not full capacity or like even close to it.
Yeah, we'll get there slowly but surely.
Yeah, I want
to hop in and just keep talking about Southern California and hockey because it's just like kind of like an oxymoron. You don't really think like hockey when you're in Southern California. So like, are we talking early 90s? Like that's when these like street hockey games were going on and going to these Gulls games?
Early 90s, yeah, and then later, 97, 98, probably 96 and 2003, going to hockey games with my dad, and like the street hockey was just, always, but my parents moved into that house in like 1990, so my dad was out there playing with all the kids, and then when my brother's 7 years younger than me, so my brother came along and he was always playing hockey in the street, and so fun. Like, it was so fun. I don't know why, just the best.
Now, but there was a little like window of time where San Diego lost their team, and like I want to say from like 2006 until like recently, until like 2015.
Right. I remember. Got it. Yeah, I don't know the exact date, but it was probably when I was almost out of, probably 2008, 2009 or something. But I was so bummed about that, even though I didn't really go to games anymore with my dad. But they lost their team. I don't know what the drama was with that. But they were back, and my dad, he still got the tickets. I mean, I took my kid to the game, and it was so cool because it was like, we sat actually like in a similar spot. And he said that it came back and it was like popping. Like, people were stoked on it. I think people really missed it and realized how cool it is. And, it's like one of those things, like you said, is like, they're whatever. It's not like NHL, but it's just still such a fun time. Cheap tickets,
And I think the cool thing about the Gulls now is they're like an actual AHL team now, because I think doing a little bit of research, like they were like a WHA and then like an ECHL team, but now being an AHL team, they're like a legit pipeline directly to the Anaheim Ducks. So now not only do you still get to have all that fun watching that game in a more intimate setting, but now you get to see players who could potentially go on a hot streak and all of a sudden, pop up on national TV on the Ducks. So it kind of gives another level of excitement to go into those games. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And it's, like an hour and a half away from Anaheim, San Diego?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. When you're going, my parents live in like North County, San Diego. The stadium is definitely San Diego proper. So from there, an hour and a half.
Yeah. So
it's next to.
That's nice when the AHL team is so close also to the professional team, because, a lot of people that probably go to San Diego Gulls games are also Anaheim Ducks fans. So, it carries over as well.
Where do they play?
Where does
the Ducks?
They maybe on like Disney, like on like where Disney is.
I like automatically want to say the Arrowhead Pond, but I know that's like where they played in the 90s. That's just like what comes to my mind. I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder where they play. Look it up. Somebody look it up.
2021, we're Skyping and trying to work at Google.
And Googling.
Listen, sometimes you gotta Google. That's.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it is. Where do they play? They play at the Honda Center.
Yes.
Yep. So that's like, where is it?
How close is it to the Angels Stadium or whatever? I'm just making you guys fun facts here. I just want to watch you guys Google. It's hot.
I'm struggling over here.
Listen, I mean, while Mikey
it's
tries
by
to find
Santa
out,
Ana Zoo. Does that help?
No, I don't know shit. Santa Ana. Ooh.
Fun fact about the Honda Center, just so you know, Barbra Streisand played the final date from her first tour in 30 years in '94.
Damn.
So, I mean, anything Streisand does is pretty excellent. So.
All right, so it's not too far from Disney. I did find that. It's like right across Highway 5. So like Disney's on one side and then the Honda Center's on the other side.
Got it.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, anytime you can get anything close to any Disney property is probably good.
Yeah.
It's just tremendous. I mean, I live north of Orlando, and Disney is Lake Buena Vista. It's just like a half an hour away, and I mean, it's like the closer you drive to Disney, the more insane things get. Like,
oh yeah,
and like not only just like landmarks, but like people driving as well. It's brutal.
Damn. And Disney's open right now over there, huh?
Yeah, over here it's going for it, and it's crazy. I mean, my fiance and I both had were pass holders, and then when the pandemic hit, we were like, "There's not a chance. It's just like number one, like even at 50% capacity, like the amount of humanity that they push into Disney is just like absurd. It's like there's not one chance that like that's not constantly just super spreading COVID everywhere."
Yeah, are they what are they at? Like half capacity, or
I think they're at 50%, and I mean they're
like, hockey games are saying, oh, maybe 10. I don't understand the like, and then Disney here is like, hell no. It's so weird.
Yeah, listen, I think that the governor in Florida, DeSantis, who is like an absolute maniac, just probably figures that if Disney doesn't open, Florida's just going to detach itself and drift away into the ocean. So he's like, we got to open up Disney. We got to open it now. And, like poor Disney employees are there making peanuts and just like trying not to, contract COVID and bring it back to their homes. But, people are just still insane. So I don't know. I think California's got the right idea in keeping those types of things closed until it's actually safe. But Florida is a lawless swamp, so no rules, just right.
Yeah. So it isn't a thing there.
No, it's not. And if it is, it's the government's made it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Insanity. But speaking of insanity, so full circle, growing up, playing hockey, enjoying hockey. Now where your career has kind of blossomed into being a full-time musician and stuff, have you ever kind of considered the idea of when you get to tour again, trying to route a tour around being able to maybe go to some of these places and catch some games and, on off days and stuff like that? Any way that you guys can kind of get to do something like that so you can kind of get the best of both worlds?
I mean, I would love to. We're always trying to do something, fun to convince everyone else. I could probably get Josh to care. But to convince everyone else to like do that on our off day, which is like we only have like a couple out of like a month,
Mm-hmm.
Would probably be tough, but I would try my hardest if we were like somewhere where, again, it was like convenient and I could convince them, hey, because it's like you have one car, you have one tour manager, you can Uber and do what, I mean, I guess you could go wherever you want.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be awesome, especially since I've like never been to an NHL game. So, but I would love to just catch one here, like, too. Start there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and now that National Women's Hockey Association's going on, and so even if you
that's rad. Yeah.
Oh, so rad. And the fact that they're talking TV deals now, it's just awesome to grow the sport.
Yeah, for sure. And what I would love to do is play. Like, I would love to freaking strap up and play roller hockey.
Oh, yeah.
And we used to go ice skating all the time. And I got pretty good at it. And I always did want to do ice hockey. It was just like it's like the private, club, expensive ass, bougie. You have to be like my parents, like, you have to be like into it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
So it was roller hockey's great, but I would love to go. I remember too when they changed at where we played the league, they changed the material of whatever it was. It was pretty slick. Like it felt like ice at times. I don't know what it's called or whatever, but it was more like concrete before, and then like this other stuff after that.
Yeah,
So
they use
it was fun.
like a blue composite surface that like
Yeah,
the puck slides a lot easier on it. And
right.
yeah,
Yeah,
it definitely does feel more like ice. And like if you don't even use like the correct wheels, like if you don't use like the indoor
right.
wheels, it could be like super slick and you're just sliding all over the place. It's pretty
Yeah, I
cool.
mean, I would love to do that. Just like find a spot and go play. I don't have
Yeah.
time for all this shit. I got brand new golf clubs. I haven't even had time to go hit them. So,
Ugh.
do you guys like the Hanson brothers though? The hockey?
Yeah,
Punk
yeah.
rock?
Well, oh the so are you talking Slapshot or the punk rock band?
Punk rock band.
Tom, I have not dabbled with them.
No, I've listened to them once or twice. Yeah, they're pretty cool. But we got to we got to find their info and get them the hell on here, man.
Oh, I know. My husband's band played with them years back. Yeah. I Googled them, but all that comes up is the real Hanson brothers.
Yeah,
their whole thing is puck rock, and they're fucking stick boy. All you ever gonna be, down, 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 the stick boy. All you ever gonna be. Oh my god, it's so good.
Yeah, they're I mean, I know they've been around for like ever. I think they've been around since like the 80s.
Yeah.
That would be cool though. I mean, I'd be all about like trying to like find 100%. Them and get them on. We there's from our hometown, there's a hockey themed punk rock band called Two Man Advantage. And they dress.
I've maybe heard of them.
You've probably heard of them. Are you? They're really tight with the dudes in Iron Chic, and I think they even put out like a split with them at some point. So, but yeah, we've never had them on yet. They're another grail for us. But like they play in all hockey gear. All their songs are hockey related. They're like the perfect guest for us, but we haven't been able to land them yet. So we're working on it. I know it's crazy, right? We're like not doing our jobs.
I'll hit them up and be like, "Yo, I don't know why I think you'd listen to me, but do it." They're awesome. They rub their beards together. They Google. It's so hot, you guys.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, we're the best Googlers in town.
We're so bad. That took like 5 minutes. So bad.
So I mean, like, I don't know what the best Googlers do. Like, I guess they're just.
You just look just really nice doing it. You look really good doing it.
That's it. I mean, I think that's really what makes or breaks you in the podcasting industry is how good you look when you're scrambling to find information to make your podcast listeners think like you know stuff. But in reality, they're like, oh, here's another 30 seconds of dead air because these dumbasses are Googling who won the Stanley Cup in 1996.
Yeah, but that's fun. You're finding all the info together. You can't know all the hockey facts.
No, I mean,
we know
we don't
no
even
facts.
Yeah, we don't even claim to. Like, that's one of the things that we tell like guests like before like we have them on is we're like, yeah, we're super casual. We usually just like shoot the shit and talk a little bit about hockey, but like we're not going to be like, so like, do you remember when like Steve Yzerman scored that fourth goal in 1997?
Yeah, that's what I was like afraid of. I was like, I mean, sure, but I don't know like hockey. It's like so random.
And that's the beauty of what we do, and that's the beauty of the Hockey Podcast Network that we're on, because like they just let us do this. They're just like, yeah, it's great. We love you guys. Just keep doing your thing, you know, like. Yeah. And they're sitting there like there are other podcasts on the network that are like sharp and detailed and perfect. And here we are Googling.
Yeah.
Just Googling away.
Just Googling.
They're going to drop us. They're literally going to listen to this episode and be like, sayonara, boys. It's been fun.
Like, bye. Who was that crazy ass bitch? Get her off.
All right. So I got one last question. So 2020 has, it's been a dumpster fire. One of the highlights of 2020 was you guys being able to put out your record, which is awesome. But a lot of music came out in 2020. So for you personally, You don't have to sit there and like, wax
Google?
crazy poetic about it. You don't have to Google it. But, in 2020, was there like a favorite record that came out that like you just couldn't stop listening to?
God, what was the name of the new Get Dead record? I love that one. I was listening to that today. Dancing with the Curse. I just Googled.
Okay.
Honestly, no. Like, Taylor Swift's new record is great. Whatever stupid rap shit was on the radio, love it. Got really into that. Can't even tell you the names. Covered a couple of them. Yeah, I just feel like I kind of detached this year, and I don't know if that's just out of. It's really hard for me. I was watching some documentary about some fucking punk band in some random ass country, and their shows were like wild and crazy, and I almost had to turn it off, dude. I was like, it's like I'm running away from it. I'm in denial because it just makes me so like sad that's fucking crawling on a bar sweaty floor. Like that's what I love to do, is be gross. And like I'm probably the one that started COVID, like on a tour somewhere. But like everyone in my family was like, why, like, you are the grossest person. Like, why are you so scared of COVID? Your immune system is probably so good. But so yeah, I mean, just like not kind of in denial. Like, it makes me sad to like listen to it, kind of,
I hear you.
So yeah, I mean, I love honestly, our record, our family's record, Get Dad, Bad Cop, were all great records, and obviously I'm being biased, but I just know that we're all in the same place and we're all in the same like, situation.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just miss being out there.
Yeah. No, I get that, and I mean, I can't say that I begin to understand, because it's, this is your calling and this is what you do for a living, and it's not what I do for a living. It's what I do to detach myself from what I do for a living is music. So, but I can definitely, empathize with how you feel, and just tell you that, I hope that once it's safe for you to get back out there and start being gross again, that you get super gross. You get like way more gross. Be
so gross. I just want to be like on the side of the road changing my tampon. Like that's what I want.
That's pretty gross.
Is that too much ass?
No, I mean, I don't think so. I think that's just the perfect amount of gross.
Taking a shit down by a river somewhere. That's what I want.
In a van down by the river.
Yes. I've done that too, but we won't get into that here.
Hey, when duty calls,
Doo-doo calls.
Hey. Awesome. Well, listen, this conversation has been fantastic. I mean, like,
wait, we can't wrap this up yet, Tom.
Why can't we wrap it up?
Because we didn't talk about how she's named after Paulina Gretzky.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
That is true. I was like, how did you guys get my name? And my mom's like, oh, well, Wayne Gretzky's daughter was named Paulina. How old is she? Huh? Let's Google.
She's probably around our age, if I had to guess.
Yeah, she was older than me, so a couple years older than me. Oh, 88. She's a babe, too, so you know what? Okay. Yeah, she's 32. She's born like 3 years before me, so my parents obviously just like fucking copied that shit. And it wasn't like, oh my god, because Gretzky's so great, but I think like they watched the thing where found out. I don't even know these days like how they found out celebrity news back in the not even that long ago. But it's but yeah, they found out they named the daughter Paulina, and so I am named after Wayne Gretzky's daughter. Woo, so exciting.
It is exciting because like we talked about, you grew up in San Diego, like not a traditional hockey market for your parents to be like, let's name our daughter after a hockey player. It's kind of out there.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
For sure.
Especially since you said your dad's a golf pro.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and come full circle, I'm pretty sure she's like engaged or married to a golf pro.
She is. Dustin Johnson,
yes,
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, like, he's like won the Masters.
Yeah, he's like one of the best.
Yeah.
I can't imagine like what it must be like to like be married to Wayne Gretzky's daughter and like have to like go to family functions and have him be like, "Hi, I'm Dustin Johnson. Like I've won this green jacket," and like Wayne Gretzky's like, okay, bud.
Yeah, I know.
I've scored literally 50 billion goals.
Yeah. Nobody can have my number anymore. So
yeah, literally nobody could have his number. Like you couldn't even you can't even ask to have that number. You just don't have it. You just don't have it. And you know what? I actually have one final question. Who's the wrestling fan in the band?
Maybe Josh?
Because there's a professional wrestler in one of your music videos.
Oh, there's two. Yeah, did you recognize him or something?
Oh yeah, it's Bateman, man. Hell yeah.
Which one was it? The guy that
gets killed at the end with the crazy mustache and the eyes. Yeah, that's Bateman.
Yeah, he was great. How did we find those guys? I forget how it went down. The guy that I was fighting too is a pro wrestler, I think, and it was so fun because I learned so much, like teaching me all the moves and stuff, and like at the end I was so sore and had like all these like bruises because we were really like slamming down and like doing all these moves, and it was hot. He's like, "You can hit me harder." I'm like, "Fuck yeah."
See, professional wrestling, not fake, Mikey, not fake.
And yeah, the guy at what's his name, Bateman,
yeah.
And then he was swinging Jen around, and he was like, he showed up, and I'm like, "Oh my God, you're so perfect for this part." Like, but yeah, a few people have definitely been like, "Oh, that's so-and-so," recognize him. So.
Yep. So, I mean, so I always got to ask, cause I'm the professional wrestling fan of this podcast, and I only get like 45 seconds each episode to talk about it. So, and I think
Mikey's shaking his head.
Yeah, he hates it.
I hate it so much.
He really hates it. It's fine.
Did you see that somebody made, I don't know what video game it is, but someone's been making Jen and I into these characters on the video game and then fighting, like making us wrestle.
Really? Oh, that's awesome.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah, they do like different matchups, and they did some other Fat Records bands too, but it's hilarious.
Sick. I gotta go find that after this episode is done. You know what I'm gonna do?
Google it.
I'm gonna Google it.
Oh, right. Perfect. Yeah.
Google it, everybody. Because Googling is what we do.
Well, I got Dustin Johnson and Paulina Gretzky up on my Google right now. So
there you go. They probably don't even Google. They're probably way too important to Google. They probably have their butler Google stuff.
Yeah. Google this.
Yeah. So, this was just great.
Yeah, I forgot I was on a podcast, to be honest. I was like, wait, why am I talking to these two dudes again? Oh, okay. But that's good. That's good. That's a good thing.
So real quick before you go, you work for Liquid Death.
I do.
Can you just tell everyone out there in the podcast world real quick why water from the can is the best water that you could drink?
First of all, it's just, look at this can. It's sick. Yeah. It stays really cold. But when you're buying Liquid Death, you're not buying plastic. Our whole thing is death to plastic. We're getting rid of single-use plastic. It doesn't, it's horrible for the environment. It doesn't really recycle. Also, some of our profits go to beach cleanup. And we are partnered with a company, God, what are their names? I forget, but they build water wells in Africa. And it's crazy how many just our profits we got on a meeting with them, and they were able to share and show us what, Liquid Death has done. Mm-hmm. And it was incredible. Like,
awesome.
Yeah. So clean water, people don't have that, and they're dying. And it's just crazy to see that people don't have clean water, So, mm-hmm. Yeah, they just do so much stuff like that. It's awesome. You can get it at Whole Foods. Yep. You can now get it at 7-Eleven. And if your local 7-Eleven doesn't have it, you better tell him to get it. I don't think we're on the East Coast yet, though.
I think you are.
Okay.
I've seen you guys at the Whole Foods
I don't.
here
Yeah,
in
I
Charlotte.
don't know about it.
Okay.
I don't know about Sev's, but definitely they're in all of our Whole Foods for sure.
Okay, perfect.
Hell
Then
yeah,
they should
absolutely.
be in the Sevs. And if they're not in the Sevs, you run and tell them. You run and tell that guy at the 7-Eleven that I do declare that you should have some liquid death on hand.
Amen.
Spoken like a true Savannah.
I do that Southern Belle thing sometimes.
Something from that Office episode where they're playing I do declare.
My God. Yeah, they're playing the murder mystery one.
That's the murder mystery one. Yep. I'm not going down for this. Pam with her finger guns. Next episode of Bardown Office, we talk about more of the Office.
I would love to.
Listen, again, thank you so much for being on here and chatting with us. The best conversations we have are truly the ones where we really do forget we're on a podcast and we're just shooting the shit and having a good time. We had such a great time. For all of our listeners that haven't listened to the Bombpops, bro, throw on that record wherever you like to listen to records, whether it's Spotify or iTunes or whether you go buy the physical release. I know there's still vinyl copies out there because I have an actual legitimate problem. So just, but go, Death to Venice Beach is just a killer record. It's full of great tracks. And like I said, if you are like me and you love punk rock that reminds you of the 90s and being young and getting on a skateboard or maybe getting on like playing some roller hockey, or maybe like just reminds you of like, those Punkorama CDs that like you found, like that's just go do it. Listen to it and you'll thank me later.
You will. You will thank him. You better thank him.
Or guess what? If you don't thank me, you're getting Googled.
Yep. You're getting Googled and canceled. We'll cancel your ass somehow. We'll find something you did in middle school.
That's right. All righty. Thank you so much. We appreciate the time you took to chat with us for a little bit.
Yeah, guys, thank you. This was really fun. Like I said, I mean, I forgot I was on a podcast, and sometimes, it can get like, the same thing over and over during these podcasts, but this definitely wasn't. So thank you guys.
Yeah, we thank you so much. You have a great rest of your night, okay?
Yeah, you too. Bye, guys.
See ya.
Take care.
See ya.